All right. I think we're good to go here. It's 8:06. We're a few minutes past our start time. Good Tuesday morning to you. My name is Jason Whiteley. I work for WFAA in Dallas and the host of Inside Texas Politics. We want to welcome you to the Plano Chamber's Candidate Forum. This is for Plano City Council seats 2, 4, 7, and 8. Looking forward to being here with you guys today. We appreciate all of you joining us this morning. We're going to let our audience build a little bit here as we get going. So we appreciate your patience a few minutes past the top of the hour here. But before we begin our program, let's first get a few words from our Candidate Forum Series sponsor this morning. It is AT&T. We appreciate AT&T being part of that. And Ty Bledsoe is with us. Ty, the screen is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Jason, and thank you all for joining us today. I'm Ty Bledsoe, the Assistant Vice President of External Affairs at AT&T and a member of the Plano Chamber of Commerce Board. As a chamber member for almost 30 years, AT&T is a committed partner, sponsor, advocate, and community leader. It is with great pride that AT&T serves as the series sponsor for today's and this series Candidate Forum this spring. Events like this allow us to further our commitment not only to our customers and leaders within the city of Plano, but also with the residents of Plano. Events such as this are a great example of our strong public-private partnership. Candidates, on behalf of AT&T, I would like to say welcome and thank you for your leadership in inspiring us and giving us an exciting opportunities to hear about your thoughts and solutions to how you improve the quality of life for Plano children, parents, and businesses across town. And make in your commitment also that Plano is a city and continues as a city of excellence. Thank you for having me today. Good luck to all of our candidates, and particularly for our candidates in place 6, City of Plano Mayor race. Back to you, Jason.
Ty, thank you. And thank you to AT&T also for the continued support for the Plano Chamber and for the advocacy efforts the Chamber does all the time. We appreciate that. I'd also like to thank and to welcome our elected officials as well as city staff who are on our call with us today. We appreciate you being here early this morning. Thank you for that. Obviously, your ongoing commitment to the city and to Plano could not be where it is today without your tireless efforts. So thank you. So right now we're going to go ahead and bring in our candidates. And while our candidates are coming into the room, we're going to go over some of the ground rules that everyone has agreed to. So the candidates are going to be separated into the order on the place they are running for. So in part 1, we're going to hear from candidates for places 2 and for places 4. Then in part 2, questions will be asked of candidates in places 7 and 8. Each candidate will get 2 minutes to give an opening statement to introduce themselves to the voters and to the businesses here in Plano. Each candidate will get 1 minute to answer each question and then get 1 minute for closing remarks as well. All the candidates are getting the same answers. We're just going to alternate who is getting to answer them first. And we're going to have a countdown clock on screen. You will see that. I am very used to being timed for everything I do. I don't like it, but we appreciate you guys sticking to the time, and that will be up here in just a moment. The countdown clock, as you see, will start at the beginning of each of your responses. And please note also to our audience that because of time constraints, because we have so many participants, so many candidates willing to join us this Tuesday morning, we're not able to take questions directly from the audience, but we do encourage you to reach out to their campaigns if there's something specific you want to know about how that candidate stands on an issue. So with that, let's go ahead and welcome part 1 for our candidates for place 2. It's incumbent Anthony Riccardelli and Steve Levine, and candidates for place 4, Justin Adcock, incumbent Casey Prince, Vidal Quintanilla, and Nasat Parveen. Candidates for place 2, we're going to begin with your opening statements. And Steve Levine, you are up first, sir. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thanks to the Plano Chamber for sponsoring this gathering, and thanks to all of you who have tuned in today to learn about us. I'm Steve Levine. My family settled in Plano 38 years ago. We sent our 2 boys through Plano schools, and their education, extracurricular opportunities and such propelled them into great colleges and good careers. I've served on the Library Advisory Board, much of that as chairman, and on the Parks and Recreation Board. I'm a proud graduate of Leadership Plano, class 28, and the Plano Citizens Academy. I've served our Plano youth for over 25 years as a volunteer for the Boy Scouts, and I currently serve as a board member for Plano Youth Leadership and the Friends of the Plano Public Library. I just completed 6 years as president of my homeowners association in one of Plano's most diverse neighborhoods. I'm retired now, but that has given me the opportunity to work full-time on behalf of the city and its citizens. My career background is in marketing research, so I'm a bit analytical, and I can tell by the numbers, budget, traffic, housing, and enrollment, that Plano is reaching maturity, which, if not handled well, can change many things about the Plano we know and love. All of us can see our wonderful city is aging, and therefore I am committed to tackling our city's maturity head on and pay for it by expanding the tax base, not your tax bill. I look forward to answering questions today, and thank you.
Steve, thank you very much. Of course, the other candidate for place 2 is Anthony Riccardelli. Anthony, you have 2 minutes.
Good morning, and thank you to the Plano Chamber of Commerce. It's an honor to be here with you. I am Anthony Riccardelli, and it's been my honor to serve you on the Plano City Council for the past 4 years. I grew up in Plano, and I'm a proud graduate of Plano Senior High School. Now my wife and I are raising our 3 children here. After graduating from Plano Senior High School, I went to UT Austin and then the University of Texas School of Law. I've practiced law for more than 11 years, arguing before the Texas Supreme Court and the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, among others, and have earned recognition as a rising star, a top lawyer under 40 in the Texas legal community 6 years in a row, which is an honor given to only 2.5% of licensed Texas attorneys. I've long been involved in the community, including on a number of nonprofit boards and committees. And in 2017, as an outgrowth of my commitment to our community, I was elected to our city council. During my 4 years on the city council, we've delivered excellent city services, achieved property tax relief, and kept Plano both a thriving suburban community and a global economic leader. As Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, a position to which my colleagues on the city council unanimously elected me in 2019, I have helped lead our community through a pandemic, an economic roller coaster, and a winter storm. Partnership with the Plano Chamber of Commerce has been a defining feature of my first 4 years on the Plano City Council. We've maintained a tremendous business climate with job growth, and I've enjoyed all of the chamber events, the quarterly lunches, the coffee with the city, and especially ribbon cuttings. One thing I can tell you about the Plano Chamber is that it's for all business, big businesses and small businesses alike. And I want to give a shout out to the chamber ambassadors. I always enjoy seeing you guys at ribbon cuttings. And my hope is that as vaccination rates rise, hopefully we will be able to get back to some in-person ribbon cutting soon, because I love being with business owners to celebrate their American dream. So thank you.
Anthony, thank you very much. Let's move on to place 4, introduce you to our candidates for that place there. We're going to start with Justin Adcock.
Hi, thank you for the Plano Chamber for having us today. I appreciate the fantastic job you do. A little bit about me. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4. 2 kids are currently in PISD and 2 will be soon. And I'm a small business owner. I also hold an executive position in the insurance industry. Yesterday I was out block walking and I met with a young family. The father said, "Justin, I've done my research and I'm supporting you." He said, "It seems like the other side's platform is just look at how great we are and look at all the great things I've done. Whereas you're talking about issues that affect everyone. Those issues include high taxes, high density apartments going in and around our neighborhoods, and making sure the people of Plano feel safe in their homes." It's a message that resonates in every corner of the city and transcends all races, religions, income, and genders. As your next councilman, I'll fight to make Plano even better and make sure to represent every one of its citizens. Thank you.
Justin, thank you very much. Up next, Casey Prince.
Thank you. And thank you to the Plano Chamber for the opportunity to be here with you today. I appreciate everybody spending some time with us. The Plano Chamber plays such an important role in our city, advocating for strengthening our business community, thereby strengthening our city. So it's a pleasure to be with you. I am Casey Prince, running for re-election to City Council Place 4. I have faithfully served our city and our citizens and our business owners for over 13 years, starting on the Plano Parks and Recreation Board where I served for 5 years, and then on the Planning and Zoning Commission, where I served for nearly 3 years. Since my election in 2017, I've advocated for improving infrastructure, investing in public safety, economic development, enhanced safety features on our trails, lowering taxes, and the new contract with our North Texas Municipal Water District, which will bring savings to our citizens for generations to come. I currently serve as the Mayor Pro Tem and on the executive board of the North Central Texas Council of Governments, which is an important role because we have a lot of issues that are going to be only solved through regional collaboration. So it's important that we have someone at the table to help make those decisions. I'm proud to have received the endorsements from the Police Association, the firefighters, and also the Texas Realtors. I've learned over my time on council that I'm only one vote, that in order to accomplish anything meaningful for our citizens, I have to be able to work well with 7 of my colleagues. And I'm proud that I've been able to do that. I've worked well with all of them to solve problems and to listen to you to help bring meaningful solutions for our city. Thank you, and I ask for your vote.
Casey, thank you. Up next, Mr. Vidal Quintanilla.
Yes, thank you for this invite, Christine and Jason, and creating this forum. I think it is outstanding Plano residents can hear from us, the candidates themselves, get to know us, and decide who they want to vote for through the avenue of our chamber. Hello, Plano residents. I am Vidal Quintanilla, and I'm originally from South Texas, from a city called Palmview. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration with an emphasis in human resources and a master's degree in public health with a concentration on health policy management. I am currently Executive Director of Human Resources, overseeing the day-to-day HR operations for GI Alliance. In Plano, those companies are known as DHAT, or Texas Digestive Disease Consultants. The responsibilities I handle daily is equivalent to the size of Plano's employee count and its budgetary infrastructure. Plano has 4 candidates on the ballot for place 4. I am, however, the only candidate with a master's degree in public health. Today, no one on City Council holds a degree in public health, and now is the time to change that, and I am that individual. Plano deserves and needs an advocate in public health on City Council. Plano residents should have a subject matter expert on emergency preparedness on council, especially now more than ever in the era of COVID-19 and the brutal winter storm we recently experienced. The preparedness and execution from our council exhibited during not 1, but 2 Mother Nature pandemics was a clear indication more should be expected in the realm of public health from our council. It is also time a Latino, a minority, has a seat at the table where decisions are made for our city. We are a diverse community. We are all Plano residents. Plano City Council should reflect that. Thank you, and looking forward to all your questions.
All right, Vidal, thank you very much. And our final candidate for place 4 is Nasat Parveen.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Plano Chamber of Commerce, Jason and Ty, for having me. My name is Nasat Parveen, candidate running for Plano City Council Place 4. So my family and I, we originally migrated from Bangladesh when I was just 4 years old, and then we made Plano our home ever since. We fell in love with our high standards of living here, our parks. I went to all of our public schools, graduated from Plano Senior High School, and while my young adult life, I got to enjoy volunteering in a lot of our local elections. At age 17, I joined a local candidate's election for school board, and from there on out, I started volunteering for other local elections, because especially coming from that immigrant experience, I realized how much these local elections directly impact us. And so coming from this diverse background, it also gave me the ability to speak 7 different languages. So I actually got to reach out to a wide range of voters here in Plano. And just by a simple language translation, I was able to increase the democratic process. And so my passion was in mental health and helping a lot of underserved communities. In 2014, I dealt with personal tragedy, and it's why I've been an advocate for suicide prevention. And then I also majored in neuroscience at UTD to learn more about this issue. While I was doing my community advocacy work, I realized that there's a huge voiceless community that's not being represented in Plano. This includes a lot of our elderly, our ethnic minorities, and our youth. And so being the youngest person coming from such a diverse background, I would finally give a voice to the millennials, as well as this other voiceless communities here in Plano. So I look forward to hearing from you all today. Thank you.
All right, Nasat, thank you very much. Thank you to all of our candidates for opening statements. We're going to move on to questions right now. As we said a moment ago, each of you have 1 minute to answer the questions that we have this morning. Please keep the answers brief, and if you can stay on topic, I think our viewers and voters would certainly appreciate that as well too, so we can get through as many questions as possible. So first up, obviously Plano is a renowned city for businesses to grow and to thrive, and we have great schools known for being a desirable community to raise a family as well. Restaurants, retail, parks, services, and general quality of life are indisputable as world-class here. But for each of the candidates, I want you to talk about what all that means to you, and then more importantly, how you would support Plano's continued prosperity and growth and keep that going. Justin Adcock, you're up first, candidate place 4. You can start us off.
Sure. I think you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head that Plano is the city of excellence. We have a very high quality of life for our residents, and that's one of my priorities to make sure that we still continue to fund our libraries, our parks, all of those amenities that people moved here for and people here love. Bringing new businesses into Plano is a major part of my platform to continue to increase the tax base in order to reduce taxes on homeowners. Plano's a place where people want to come, so we have to make sure that we have available housing for them. Another platform that I'm advocating for is additional senior housing to have our seniors, have a place where they can move, they can downsize. We can bring new families from all over the country here that will revitalize our neighborhoods and inject new money into our economy. Thank you.
Casey, same question for you. Sustaining that prosperity is going to be certainly a challenge as we move forward.
Yes, I think that the keys to a thriving Plano are safety, mobility, revitalization, economic development, and a strong sense of community. We must keep our community safe by providing the fire and police departments with necessary training and resources to provide a high level of service. We recently had a survey done that said that one of the reasons that businesses choose to stay here is because we have such a low crime rate. So that's top of mind, that we have to keep that. We need to invest in our aging road infrastructure and improve neighborhood streets and alleys. We need to reinvest in mature parks, neighborhoods, and our US 75 corridor, which we've already started doing. But that is a key factor to keeping Plano a place that we all want to live in. We also have to be proactive to retain and attract businesses to provide job opportunities for our citizens. There's a lot of changing business trends from work from home that we need to look at, that we're going to have to be creative with, and then also the changing retail industry. There's a lot of changes there that we're going to have to look at so that we can continue to thrive. Thank you.
Casey, thank you. Vidal, same question for you as well. How do you keep Plano at the top of the list for so many people?
Hi, yes, thank you for that question. And the high quality of life that we currently have, and we make sure we have that moving forward for our future. We need to limit our current density that we have that's increasingly growing. We need to focus on safety. Safety should be our top priority in our neighborhoods, and make sure that we are investing in our infrastructure since it's currently aging. And we need to start being proactive instead of reactive, instead of just putting Band-Aids over Band-Aids over Band-Aids. We need to invest in our city. We need to invest in our employees, and we need to invest in our future. Thank you.
And Nasat, again, same question here. How do you sustain the incredible growth that Plano has had?
I think in order to sustain the incredible growth we have, that it's important we reach out to all Plano residents here. And this includes both East and West. I've been block walking a lot in East Plano, and some of that area there could really be revitalized. Many of them don't have wide enough sidewalks, or their houses are still having issues. So it's important that in East Plano, they also receive the same high standards of living as in West Plano. And in order to do that, I think it's great that we keep up our pro-business growth going, diversify our market, because we want to have all of these great restaurants here, but at the same time, we must have affordable housing options as well, because a lot of times we lose great businesses when the employees here cannot afford living here. So it's important that from the community perspectives, we really listen to what the people are looking for, as well as making sure that their health and safety is protected, making sure that we take the first step protocol to help ensure all our residents' needs are met. Thank you.
And for our place 2 candidates as well, Steve Levine, same question here. You've been here for a long time, but obviously future generations want to enjoy the Plano that has been built so far. And you're on mute there, Steve.
I apologize. Yes, we need to tackle our city's maturity head on. I will fight to ensure that we continue investing in what made Plano the city of excellence, our libraries, our recreation centers, and most importantly, our neighborhoods. I want to make sure we keep up with the needs of our aging infrastructure. We can keep our tax rates the lowest in North Texas without sacrificing the maintenance that's necessary. However, shortchanging Plano now could cost homeowners later and hamper the city's ability to keep up with renewal. Maintaining and attracting a larger corporate tax base will help spread the cost of this renewal and will lower taxes for individual homeowners. That's going to be important for us to maintain the city the way we've grown accustomed to.
All right, Steve, thank you. And then finally, Anthony Riccardelli, your position on this question.
Thank you, Jason. As I mentioned, I grew up in Plano, and now my wife and I are raising our family here. Plano is a city of excellence, and it's important to me that we maintain it that way. I've worked hard in my first 4 years on the city council to keep that. A lot of good things have already been said here, but I'll just add to them. Economic development is tremendously important. It helps us to balance our tax base and deliver excellent city services at a low tax burden. Maintaining Plano's neighborhoods is critically important so that we remain a desirable place to live. Infrastructure investment is a priority. Plano's population boomed in the 70s and 80s into the 90s. A lot of our road infrastructure in particular is coming due for investment at around the same time. Keeping up with that is critical. Fostering a sense of community makes Plano a place that people want to live, and we're doing that through the comprehensive plan review committee process to bring our community together. And finally, we need to prepare for the unexpected, things like winter storms, and I'm committed to continuing to work with our emergency preparation department going forward. So thank you.
And several of you mentioned investment and tax base and corporations as well too, which leads into the second question we have this morning. Obviously, businesses here in Plano contribute enormously to our property tax collections, which fund our schools, our city, and our county as well too. For each of the candidates, talk about how you would continue to support our businesses, big and small, obviously, and continue their growth and continued relocations into Plano too. And more importantly, how do you keep Plano as a business hub, especially in relation to that first question too? So we're going to start with place two, and Anthony, you're back up first, sir.
Thank you, Jason. There's a lot that goes into the tremendous success that we as a city have had in getting corporate relocations to the city of Plano. And I would say that everyone who's listening as the Plano Chamber of Commerce has as much to do with it as the city of Plano apparatus does. We have an excellent economic development department led by Sally Bain, and I'm proud that during my first 4 years on council, we've had a great track record of attracting businesses to our community. But it goes well beyond formal economic development efforts and incentive packages. As the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned earlier, a recent survey shows that low crime rates are very important to businesses relocating to Plano. I fully support our public safety, and I'm blessed to be endorsed by the Plano Police Association and the Plano Firefighter Association. I'm also committed to keeping Plano a business-friendly city with a low tax burden and a thriving business climate. When we keep Plano a desirable place to live, we attract a talented and educated workforce, and that in turn attracts businesses here. So thank you.
Steve, same question. How do you keep Plano as an attractive business hub?
Well, what sets Plano apart from many other North Texas cities is its tax base. We have an enviable ratio of some 54% corporate to 46% single family homeowners. Those corporate taxpayers contribute most of our property and sales tax revenue. And that's what allows our city to build and operate award-winning libraries, parks, recreation centers, and all the other amenities. It does require that Plano nurture this asset. Large corporations are attracted to Plano by a government that embraces the pro-business attitudes that have helped Plano become such an employment magnet. Employers look for an area where their employees can live close to their offices and enjoy the ample amenities that a town like Plano has to offer. We need to be careful not to put our attractiveness in jeopardy. The comprehensive plan is going to be key to that, and I hope we can come to a good solution there.
All right, Steve, thank you. Same issue, same topic, same question for our place 4 candidates. Casey Prince, we're going to begin with you.
Yeah, thank you for this question. It's a great question. Plano has added 45,865 jobs since 2006. And during the 4 years that I've served on council, we've brought 11,201 jobs to Plano. And some of the major factors that impact a corporation's decision to choose Plano are access to DFW Airport, our transportation, our highway access, our great infrastructure and roads. But also, I think an important factor is skilled labor. And if people feel like they can come here and find great employees, then that's one of the reasons they choose. So that means that we have to have great relationships with our local school district, with Collin College, also with our other universities, UTD. And so we have to make sure that we have strong programs that are helping raise up the next generation of employees so that there is a great access to talent here for those future jobs.
And Vidal, same question here, keeping Plano attractive to businesses.
Yes, thank you for that question. Many of our small businesses suffered during COVID, and I honestly believe that we could have done more for our small business owners instead of stocking away CARE Act funds and put them on reserve. We should have been using them now for our owners. Also, I would like to see what the current pipeline is planned for businesses that want to join our city. I would like to see the pipeline quarterly and bi-yearly from our economic development department. And how can I help as your councilman and as a business person with an individual that has a background in recruiting and a background with retaining businesses? So I would like to see that across the board for our city, which will add to the economic development of our overall Plano City of Excellence, which is on my platform. Thank you.
Vidal, thank you. Nasat.
Thank you. What Plano is known for is our excellent pro-business environment we have going. In order to keep that up, it's important that we help maintain local talent here. I think it would be great if we connect the two, both big businesses, corporate businesses, along with our local small businesses. We have a lot of great universities here like UTD, Collin College. And so if you can reach out to local talent there, give opportunities and give a lot of our young people within my age range an opportunity to work here and invest here, that would really help diversify our market. And on top of that, I think it's important that we provide relief to these businesses that struggle with COVID-19 and that we don't put too much harsh regulations on them that, overburdens them. And so if we can continue doing that, I think for the next 5 to 10 years, Plano will continue thriving and the future will also look bright. Thank you.
All right, Nasat, thank you. Justin, finally, your plan for keeping Plano attractive to businesses.
Sure. How do you keep businesses? You make Plano the most desirable place to live possible. People have mentioned several things, including low crime, creating a positive business atmosphere, the lifestyle amenities that I mentioned earlier, as well as top talent. One of the main reasons people come here or businesses move here is because we have great educated people. I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana, which is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum from Plano. Anytime a business would look to relocate there, they, one of the main reasons they give one of the main reasons they didn't relocate there was the poor schools and the lack of options. So knowing what those businesses look for gives us an idea of what we need to keep our priorities on, which is several of those things, but also the schools. No parent wants to raise their kid, in a lackluster school system. So I think that we should also encourage and support our PISD to be the best it can.
All right, Justin, thank you. The clock moves fast on us here. We're halfway through our program. So our last question for candidates for place 4 and for place 2 is to rank priorities here. So we're going to talk about I want each candidate rather to talk about the 2 biggest issues in their opinion that the city of Plano is facing today. Casey, we'll begin with you for place 4. 2 biggest issues the city is facing right now.
Yeah, number one, I would say is our aging infrastructure. Many of our roads are 30 and 40 years old. And so if you look at some surrounding cities, you'll notice that if you get behind on that, it's hard to catch up. So we can't get behind on that. We have to be proactive about investing in our aging infrastructure. We have to stay on top of that. And Plano has some great financial policies that were put in place a long time ago, where we have a capital maintenance fund And so it's smart to keep those policies going so that we don't take on additional debt. And that helps us keep our tax rate lower. Other issues that are facing us, I think, are housing challenges with people increasing property with rates increasing that are making houses more challenging for people to live here. We have to find ways that we can keep our housing market strong and people able to still come and move here so that our city is an attractive place, but that people can still live here.
All right, Vidal Quintanilla.
Yes, absolutely. So my two top areas is the infrastructure that's currently aging and our population density. From a public health standpoint, we need to be strategic and we need to focus on where we're building all these multi-development projects. We need to make sure it doesn't impact negatively with our infrastructure, and it involves areas where our our fire department and our police department can't access it because we focus mainly on building versus what do we need to focus on from an emergency preparedness standpoint. So for that area, my two areas is the infrastructure that's currently aging that we need to fix. I'm glad that Casey mentioned proactive instead of reactive. I've been preaching that, and also our population density. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vidal. Nasat, two biggest issues facing the city today.
Two biggest issues that we're facing, and this is from my experience of block walking and talking to so many voters throughout the years, is revitalization of East Plano, along with access to affordable housing. Every time I go to East Plano, I notice that many of the people tell me they have to drive 30 minutes just to get to a nice restaurant, or they don't have access to as many good quality parks, or they don't have wide enough sidewalks. But it's worth it, definitely, to revitalize that area, invest there, because we have so many good talent as well. But in order to keep the good talent, it's important that we have access to more affordable housing. The truth is, so many people in Plano right now feel that they are pushed away from living here. But if we invest in our people right now and make housing as accessible and affordable as possible, then I think that our people will continue contributing, especially our young professionals over here. Thank you.
All right, Nasat, thank you. And finally, Justin.
Yeah, thank you. As I'm out talking with people, I think one of the biggest issues that I hear is again, the population density. When the original 1986 comprehensive plan came out, we had 1 square mile blocks with a park in the middle, an elementary school next to it, and then those 4 corners of the block were designated retail. The city's currently looking at rezoning 47 of those corners into residential, or to allow for high density residential. And that's something that a lot of people are concerned about, that relates to lower property values, increased school class sizes, as well as increased traffic. So I think that's one major issue that we need to address. The other is taxes, which has been mentioned before. You have long-term Plano homeowners who are getting priced out of their homes. This is part of our community that we can't afford to lose. Like I mentioned before, our greatest asset is our people. And if people can't afford to live here, then we're losing that important piece. So that's it for me, density and taxes. Thank you.
Justin, thank you. Place 2 candidates. Anthony, we're going to start with you. 2 biggest issues today facing the city of Plano.
Thank you, Jason. There are many critical issues that we're confronting head on, but the 2 biggest that I'll talk about are maintaining Plano as a desirable place to live and keeping excellent city services with a low tax burden. First, on keeping Plano a desirable place to live, we need to preserve Plano's suburban neighborhoods and character, continuing our tremendous economic growth on the trajectory that has made us so successful, while maintaining Plano as a great place for people to live and preserving our suburban neighborhoods. Public safety is a critical part of keeping Plano a desirable place to live, and so is infrastructure investment. As pertains to business, that helps maintain a talented workforce and also provides consumers for businesses within our community. Then on taxes, during my time on council, we've been able to keep taxes low while continuing to deliver excellent city services, keeping your property taxes flat or lower the last 2 years, while even managing to hire additional city employees where needed. So I'll continue to do that. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to the chamber today.
All right, and finally, Steve Levine, from your point of view, 2 biggest issues facing the city today.
Well, there've been a lot of good things talked about, and a lot of these things interconnect. I mentioned, and others have also, that we need to tackle the city's maturity. It's critical that we not forget that so much of our city's infrastructure in our parks and our recreation centers and such are coming up for renewal. We need to be sure that We encourage passage of the bond elections and also make sure that we have money set aside in the budget to be able to deal with those renewal situations. Our neighborhoods too need a little bit of boost from time to time. But in order to keep our tax base growing, we need to be able to house employees of these businesses that we want to attract here. So we're going to need more housing and more affordable housing. Those with incomes below Plano's average don't really have a place to live. So we need to be sure that we are dealing with the need for housing and affordable housing.
Candidates, I know it is tough living by that pesky clock that's changing colors on you. So I appreciate you guys being willing to have that right next to you and watching the clock as well. Thank you for that. So if there is anything that we did not get to, we are now going to move into closing remarks where you each get 60 seconds to lay out anything else that you want to add or just make a final pitch to the voters. 60 seconds for each of you. We're going to begin with place 4, Vidal Quintanilla. You're up first.
Thank you for that. Plano residents, I want to thank you for accepting me into the city, opening your homes, and trusting me to lead. It should speak volumes. Place 4 has multiple candidates challenging an incumbent. This means, from our member standpoint, there are communities that did not feel represented. I call on you to take action and to go out and vote. Vote for inclusion. Vote for a candidate who will listen to all Plano residents, including minorities. Vote for someone who won't stay silent, because I won't, and someone who can lead and not follow. Vote for change. I am Vidal Quintanilla, and I'm respectfully asking for your vote for place 4. Thank you.
Vidal, thank you. Nasat, you're up next. 1 minute.
Thank you so much, Plano Chamber of Commerce, for having me today. I just want to reemphasize the fresh perspective that I'm bringing to the table. As the youngest person running to council, I will already, my candidacy alone, open doors to a lot of new young people to lead and invest over here. It's very important that we keep good talent here in Plano. And it's also important we shine light on these voiceless communities that I'm advocating for over here. In order to continue being the city of excellence, it's important that we continue keeping the city as diverse as possible. Having diverse representation is important more than ever, and my background will do exactly that. And we will make sure that the needs of all will be represented by first advocating for the most vulnerable in our community here. Thank you.
Nasat, thank you. Justin Adcock, you're up next.
Sure, thank you. Thank you again to the Plano Chamber for having this today. As you've heard, there's a lot of stuff going on in Plano, a lot of plans that need to be made for the future to make sure that we remain the city of excellence. I'd like to direct you to my website, Justin for Plano. If you have additional questions, you can see the entire platform there. My goal is to represent every single citizen of the city. And as your councilman, that's my commitment. I plan on creating the best business environment to continue to attract businesses. And again, to make Plano the best city in Texas. So thank you for having me.
Justin, thank you. Casey.
Thank you. It's been a privilege to get to know many of you through the chamber over the years. And as I've served on council, but even before that, as I work for a large business in Plano. And so I don't just serve on council, but I live here and I've worked here and worked for a very large corporation in our city. And I think that business experience that I bring to the table is very important on council. Not just that, but I'm a working mom. And I think that's an important voice that we need on council. And over the years, I've had the opportunity to help several businesses. Even this week, I had a business reach out to me saying, can you help me navigate this permit journey that I'm on to try to get a new section of my business open? And it's opportunities like that when I can help a business owner navigate that journey that are super meaningful, because in local government, you get to be right there with the people, you get to know them, and you get to help them see how you can make government work better and more efficiently for them. I ask for your vote so I can serve you for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Casey, thank you. Moving on to place 2, final words from them. Steve Levine, you're up first, sir.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to serve on the chamber board and see the impact and effect that the policies and programs the chamber has done to help build the city and build its leadership. And as our city approaches maturity, we must remind ourselves how Plano became the best city in the nation to raise a family. Our schools are some of the best funded in the nation, but that's not what makes them great. We have some of the lowest tax rates in the state, but that's not the primary reason why businesses and jobs are coming to our city. What makes Plano the city of excellence is our shared commitment to building a community that values inclusivity and opportunity and is always unafraid to rise and meet the challenges of the future. I ask you to vote for me and keep alive the promise of Plano for our residents now and in the next generation.
Steve, thank you. And the final word this morning for place 2 is Anthony Riccardelli.
Thank you, Jason. As your council member for the last 4 years and your deputy mayor pro tem, a position to which my colleagues on the city council unanimously elected me for the last 2 years, I have established a record of doing what's best for our city. It's an understatement to say that the last year has been unusual. My experience confronting all of the challenges that we have successfully faced over the past 4 years positions me to continue serving you effectively over the next 4 years. Protecting and preserving our vibrant neighborhoods while continuing to recruit desirable employers and bring job growth to our city, and pursue needed revitalization programs like the redevelopment of Collin Creek Mall, which the surrounding neighborhoods overwhelmingly supported, will remain a priority to me. I have worked to deliver excellent city services while providing property tax relief. I meet with people who agree with me and people who don't. I address the job of a council member with the seriousness that Plano, the city of excellence, deserves. And I'm proud that my thoughtful approach to governance has earned the support of the Plano Police Association, the Plano Firefighters Association, the Collin County Association of Realtors, and many others. I've appreciated the opportunity to speak directly with you this morning, and I look forward to earning your trust for the next 4 years. So thank you, Plano Chamber of Commerce.
Anthony, thank you. There you have it. Our candidates for place 4 and for place 2. Place 4 candidates you'll see on the ballot are Vidal Quintanilla, Nasat Parveen, Justin Adcock, and of course, Casey Prince. Place 2 candidates, Steve Levine and Anthony Riccardelli. We appreciate you guys joining us this morning for our first part of our candidate forum. So thank you very much for your time and getting up early with us. So now we are going to shift them off screen and bring on the candidates for places 7 and 8. We're going to take a moment just to review the format. So these candidates now are for 7 and 8 are going to see our pesky little clock there too. And we ask that they also respect the time like our other candidates did. Candidates obviously will be separated into the order on the place that they are running for. Each candidate is going to get 2 minutes in just a moment here to give an opening statement. They'll get 1 minute also to answer each question. And of course, 1 minute to add any closing remarks that they want to make, a final pitch to the voters as well. And each candidate is also going to get the same questions. So they're a little lucky. They got to sit there and watch and listen to see what the questions were. They're going to get many of those same questions there too. The countdown clock for each of you will begin here at the start of each response too. And even though we can't take questions, I see a lot of comments coming in our chat box here. Just want to remind folks that you can reach out to each of these campaigns and ask what their positions are on everything from the bond to the maturing city, et cetera. I've seen a number of questions come in there too. So we don't have the time built in for that, unfortunately, today. So we do encourage you to do that. So now let's go ahead and move into part 2 of our candidate forum this morning. We're going to begin with our candidates for place 7 on the Plano City Council. The candidates are Julie Holmer, David Smith, Sandeep Srivastava. I hope I got that right, Sandeep. Thumbs up. All right, man. I was nervous. And the candidates for place 8, Elisa Klein and incumbent Rick Smith. He has a very unusual name there. I worked on that one last night too. So unfortunately, candidates for place 7, Bill Lyle and Chris Robertson could not join us here today. But candidates for place 7, we're going to begin with you first this morning. And Julie, you're up first.
Good morning, Plano Chamber. Thank you, Jason, for hosting. Thank you for having me. My family moved to Plano in 1981 from abroad. Same year that the Collin Creek Mall opened, my dad accepted a job with ARCO, and that's what brought us to Plano. I went through the Plano school system. This was a Sigler Roadrunner, a Wilson Ram, a Vines Viking, and a Plano Wildcat. I graduated from Plano Senior High, and I went off to college at Stephen F. Austin State University, where I received my bachelor's of social work degree. And I immediately returned right back to Plano, where I started my career, and now I'm raising my family here. My children are in Plano schools. I have a 7th grader over at Carpenter and a 9th grader at Clark. I'm actively involved in the Plano PTA board as a board member and also as a volunteer. I am a proud Leadership Plano graduate, class 30, and I also graduated from the Citizens Police and Fire Academies. I've been very actively involved in my community as a volunteer on several nonprofit boards, which include the Historic Downtown Plano Association for 8 years, the Assistant Center of Collin County for 4 years, the Plano Parks Foundation Board for 6 years, and Theater Britain for 6 years as well. I opened a restaurant in downtown Plano in 2011, so I have that unique experience of running a brick and mortar in Plano, and I've navigated the waters of having to get building permits and certificates of occupancy, and I know the challenges that small business owners have in Plano, and I want to make sure that the city of Plano is not an obstacle for small businesses to be successful. I know they are the foundation of our city and play an important role in making Plano the unique place it is to live, work, and play. So I'm very proud of the bipartisan support I have on my campaign. I encourage you to go to my website, julieforplano.com, to see who my supporters are and to get involved in my campaign. I hope I can earn your vote. I'm Julie Holmer, and I'm running for City Council Place 7. Thank you.
Julie, thank you. All right, next up, David Smith, 2 minutes here to introduce yourself to voters.
Good morning. I'm David Smith. I'm a candidate to return to the Plano City Council Place 7. I bring 31 years of civic engagement in our city, including 6 years on the city council. And by the way, that civic engagement includes membership in the Plano Chamber, including some past service as an advisory director. But I'm not going to spend this entire 2 minutes talking about past service. I'd like to talk about what I'd like to do returning to the council. I want to return with a number of others you elect to make the council an active council again. No disrespect for the incumbents in this forum, but council recently has become somewhat passive. They've been gridlocked at times, but I want to return to work with everyone to tackle the urgent issues, and we do have urgent issues. First is eradicating this pandemic that is continuing. I think with a lot of help from chamber members and others, we can establish a reputation for Plano to be a safe place to dine, shop, and do business and accelerate our financial recovery. And the financial recovery for the city government itself is a priority. During all my prior 6 years on the council, I served on the finance committee. I helped establish a practice of addressing our basic needs and making the city financially lean and healthy. And also look forward to, again, tackling the main issues. I look forward to the questions.
All right, David, thank you very much. Up next, our other candidate for place 7 is Sandeep Srivastava.
Good morning, and thanks, Jason and Plano Chambers. As you said, my name is Sandeep Srivastava, and I'm a first-generation immigrant from India. And I started my career in IT. I worked for IT for 25 years. And then I started my real estate business since last 10 years. Currently, I'm one of the top RE/MAX agent in DFW area. And I am also a small business owner. I live in Plano and with my wife, and I have 2 kids who graduated from UT Dallas, and now they are in Ivy schools in Cornell and NYU. So whatever I have done, I have already very committed. Raising the kids, I committed with them. When I was working in IT, I worked in top position as a top achiever. In real estate also, I did a top achiever. So my thing is, whenever I commit anything, I take it seriously and responsibility. My goal is for the city, running for city council, is to protect the family values, to be very transparent and honest to the citizens of the Plano. That is the reason I'm not taking endorsement from any organization or from any party. Once you take the endorsement, you are bound to work for them. That's my thing is I committed now. I don't want any endorsement. I want to endorse by the citizens of the Plano because I want to work for citizens of the Plano and to be very honest and transparent and protect the values which I support. Thank you very much.
Sandeep, thank you. Moving on to place 8. Up first is Elisa Klein.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. This is a great forum. I'm very glad to be a part of it. My name is Elisa Klein, and I'm running for place 8. I'd love to take some time to tell you a little bit about myself and then give you a list of my qualifications. I was originally born in El Salvador, but my family moved here, and we came to Plano because of the excellent public education. My parents were adamant to have me and my sisters graduate from Plano schools. We're all proud graduates of Plano East and Plano Panthers. I went off to college and went to Texas Tech, received a master's in public affairs and administration, and then I came back home. My husband and I are raising our 2 kids. They go to Matthews and Schimmelpfennig, both Plano public schools of excellence. And we love this community. I love being a part of this community. One of my first jobs straight out of school was because our city worked really hard to recruit some businesses. And so McAfee relocated from California to Plano. This provided me a way to come back home and live and work here. A little bit about my experience. I have this unique blend of not just business and private sector experience, but also worked in a government. I've worked for 2 cities in the past, and one of those roles was to recruit businesses to engage with the city and work with the city. So I have that firsthand experience to know how to, work with businesses and get them on board. So as far as volunteering goes, I love to volunteer in my community. I'm a very avid PTA mom, and that doesn't just mean fundraising, and bakes. That also means that I have advocated on behalf of education at the legislative sessions. I've gone down twice to advocate on behalf of issues. So I hope that you will vote for me. My name's Elisa Klein. I bring a blend of not just public service, but also government experience and a business background. Again, Elisa Klein, and it's elisaforplano.com. Thank you.
Elisa, thank you very much. And finally, for place 8, Rick Smith.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to the Chamber for having us on here this morning, giving us an opportunity to talk to other Chamber members that are watching. I'm Rick Smith. I have been serving as your council member on Plano City Council Place 8 for the last 4 years. And it's really been quite an experience, and I've really been honored to be able to represent the citizens of Plano. For those that don't know me, my wife and I have been residents of Plano for almost 35 years now. It's really been a great place. This is the longest place that we've ever lived in our very corporate careers, where we've lived all over the country. So we may not have been born in Texas, but we are Texans now, and we plan on being here for a long time to come. A little bit more about me. I bring a bit of corporate experience as well as local business ownership experience. I retired a few years ago as a senior vice president with a national healthcare company. So I was all over the country working with various groups and leading a large team of sales and marketing people. I retired from that, and I guess my proudest accomplishment is I've been operating a local business in Plano, for the last 25 years. And in addition to doing all that, I've still found time to volunteer for the city. I've been a city volunteer in various capacities for over 10 years with the Police Association, Community Emergency Response Team, member of my homeowners association board for the last 7 years. I'm a graduate of the Plano Citizens Academy. So I've seen a lot of things and had a lot of various experience that I encourage you just to look at the record that I've put there for the last 4 years. And I hope you'll continue to let me serve you for another 4 years. Thank you.
Rick, thank you very much. Let's move on to our questions now. Reminder, each of you have 1 minute to answer the questions here. And if you could keep your answers brief and stay on topic, I know our viewers would certainly appreciate that. First question up, you guys have heard some of these questions. You had the benefit of going second this morning. But the first question this morning is about Plano being a renowned city for businesses to grow and businesses to thrive. Restaurants, retail, parks, services, general quality of life is world-class in Plano, which has made the city so great for so many years. The question this morning, how do you sustain that? How do you move Plano into the next, into the next level for the next generation, if you will? And we're going to start with place 8, and Elisa Klein, you get the question first. 1 minute.
Sure, that's a great question. So I would have to agree with what candidates in the past said about public safety. People come to live here because it is one of the safest places to live. So I am dedicated to our first responders, fire and police, and maintaining and improving the budget for them. I wanted them to be able to have the training, the equipment, the technology that'll keep us the safest city. I also think that revitalization is important. It's important to look at what we have and continue to make improvements. And that's why, I look at the bond referendum and the projects that we have going on in Collin Creek and Envision Oak Point. And I support those projects because I think it's important to invest back into what we have and to repurpose it if we need to. And that ties into housing. Housing for all stages of life is important. So I support measures to plan for those futures and continue to maintain our residents here. Thank you.
Elisa, thank you. Rick, same question.
Thanks. One of the things I think that I haven't really heard anybody say yet that's going to ensure that we continue to be the business leader in North Texas is maintaining the professional staff that we have at our city. It starts at the top with our city manager and all the way down, because if you don't understand and can't relate to the needs of our business community, you can't deliver the services that they want. And that's what keeps us being one of the highest quality business communities anywhere in Texas, and for that matter anywhere in the country. So I'm going to continue to support professional staff, provide the incentives that we need to continue to maintain businesses that are here and attract new businesses to the community in the future.
Rick, thank you. Same question for our candidates for place 7. How do you sustain Plano's growth and keep it a world-class city? Julie, you are up first. Still on mute there.
My apologies. We need to make sure we keep Plano safe. Funding our first responders must always be a top priority. I was really pleased to see City Council make it a priority for us to overhire our police officers. It actually takes 53 weeks for a new recruit to go from their initial training to be out on their own patrolling on the streets. So we can't wait. We have an aging, retiring police force, and we need to be sure that we're prepared to rehire and restaff that and not wait until we are understaffed. So I was really pleased that we did that. We need to maintain Plano's infrastructure and invest in our streets, our parks and facilities in a financially responsible manner. And we need to keep Plano's culture strong. We are a professionally managed city, and we embrace the arts and education. And we're a city that is accepting and inclusive city for all. So Plano's everyone's neighborhood, and it needs to stay that way. So thank you.
Julie, thank you. David Smith, how do you sustain Plano's growth for the next generation?
Yeah, great question. As others have said, we've got to preserve excellent public safety, excellent infrastructure, streets, public transit, parks, libraries. Neighborhood preservation is key. But to add to that, we can promote some innovation. When I was in council before, the smart city movement started, and I'd like to see us embrace some of those initiatives. There are a number of things that we can do that can benefit our city, but also attract investment and attract new businesses, provide new opportunities for existing businesses. Our neighbors to the south in Richardson, recently setting up an innovation hub. I think we can complement that and keep a lot of excitement going, if you like, within our business community through our initiatives.
All right, David, thank you. And finally for this question, Sandeep Srivastava.
Yeah, so I face day to day because a lot of people are relocating and they contact me to buy a home in Plano. And the main reason they want to buy and move to Plano is a city of excellence, good public safety, and very good connectivity. So for me, to keeping Plano and improving the Plano city is a vital thing. I would love to remove lots of burdensome regulations for the small businesses, because I hear a lot of things from the small businesses. They are having a hard time in getting things done. And then I would like to invest in the roads and the overbridges or bypasses, because the traffic issues are big in Plano right now.
Sandeep, thank you very much. Obviously, we all know the value that businesses bring to Plano for property tax collections, for attracting businesses, et cetera. But we also all know that Frisco, that maybe McKinney, Dallas would love to chip away at the success that Plano has had. So the next question is, how do you keep Plano as a business hub? And we're going to start with Place 7 and David Smith. You get the question first. And still on mute there, David.
I'm off mute.
All right.
Yeah, another good question. As others have mentioned, we've got to solve the jobs housing imbalance that we currently have. I became very aware of that as a member of the city's Housing Plan Advisory Committee recently. We've done a great job in bringing in new jobs, but we haven't been keeping housing construction to match. So we've got to resolve that. Companies will not stay in Plano if they're not places for employees to live. So we've got to resolve that. We've got to also have attractive housing for seniors and others. So I'd say that's our biggest challenge, in addition to maintaining the infrastructure, et cetera, as mentioned before.
All right, David, thank you. Sandeep.
So Plano has a big advantage over Frisco and Dallas. And that is the reason people like to move to Plano, because they would like to live in a suburban style. And just you cross the street 121, there are tons of apartment, affordable housing. If you go south, you have Dallas, Richardson, which is hardly 10 minutes drive to the Plano. So I am in favor of maintaining Plano in a suburban way, and so that more people can live nearby. They can work in Plano in 10 minutes drive. They can live in Frisco. They can live in Dallas. And on the east side of Plano, we already have affordable housing. So we have Plano, in my way, I moved to Plano for a suburban style of living. So I support suburban style of living. And I talk to a lot of businesses who are moving. They also want to move in Plano because of this reason.
All right, Sandeep, thank you. Obviously, Plano does have an advantage, as he said, Julie, but how do you keep that advantage here in the city?
Well, we need to make sure we continue to support our small businesses. One thing that's so attractive about Plano is all the great restaurants and retail that we have here. So we need to make sure that we make it easy for small businesses to operate and be successful. And I have to echo what David Smith said about housing options. We need more of them. It's great for us to attract large businesses that are going to help our tax base and keep our property taxes low as residents. However, if we don't give these people a place close by to live, we're just going to increase our traffic. And a lot of people think that adding more housing is going to increase traffic. But I believe that by putting more housing and more affordable housing close to where people work, then we'll minimize our traffic, especially if they've got walkability, they can ride their bikes there, they can use public transit. Then I think that's an advantage that will attract more businesses to Plano if people can not only work in a great city, but afford to live in a great city and be close to work. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Rick, same question. Sustaining Plano as a business hub, attractive to businesses. How do you do that for the next generation?
Thanks, Jay. I think, again, I'll go back. It starts with having the right people and the right job. So again, we're very fortunate to have the leadership and the city staff that we have, but we're known for being a business-friendly community. And the way you keep that is you can't just look at today. We have to look down the road, years down the road. And one of the things that we've done recently, everybody got thrown a loop last year with this whole pandemic situation. So what we've done is we've worked with our existing corporate base, and we have, as you know, international companies here like no other place in North Texas, and have worked with them to redo some of the agreements, incentive agreements that we've had to bring them here in the first place. But because of the kick that everybody got from the pandemic last year, some of those keys that they were supposed to be, they weren't exactly able to do, but it wasn't through their fault. But recognizing that, we worked with them to modify those to help them stay here and to continue to be a profitable business in the city of Plano.
All right, Rick, thank you. Elisa, final word on this topic.
Sure, thank you. Great question. So I think that we have to maintain our city, a city of excellence by planning. I'm a planner and a problem solver, and so I support things like the comprehensive plan, which give us input from our community on how we should plan and revitalize moving forward. I think that we can continue to support our local businesses by looking more into looking at things that are more innovative that we can do in a digital platform. So for example, you know, when the pandemic hit, we went online and it found we can do many things online. So I would love to have less burdensome process for small businesses by looking at that. And I think we need to continue to recruit businesses here. And with my personal experience of working to recruit businesses to work with cities, I would bring that value to the table. Thank you.
All right, Elisa, thank you. Let's zoom out now and look at the overriding issues facing the city today. So we're going to go through each candidate again here for place 8 and for place 7. And I want you to tell us in your perspective what the top 2 issues are facing the city overall. We're going to start with place 8 and Rick Smith.
Thanks, Jason. I think it's been said before, but by far one of the top issues facing us is infrastructure. You know, we are a city that's got pretty good use on our infrastructure. The last 30 or 40 years, we've grown tremendously, and we need to keep what we have repaired and also update and add some existing infrastructure. Redevelopment is going to be the next big challenge for the city. We've got a lot of four corner areas that have been aging, and what we have to do is manage the process so that we're combining basically good growth, smart growth for the neighborhood. So, you know, we don't want to disrupt the look and feel of this city, because we've got residents that have been here for years and years, and we want to protect them. And at the same time, we want to revitalize these aging areas to continue to improve the tax base that we have from the retail community that's out there now.
Rick, thank you. Top 2 issues, Lisa, what are they for the city?
Sure. And I would have to agree, you know, we have to take care of our city, and that is investing in infrastructure. And also the second part to that is housing. So with infrastructure, if we don't plan and make plans to take care of things now, it's going to be more costly and burdensome in the future. So I support practical plans that are financially responsible to look at the areas of Plano where we need to update roads or update infrastructure, reinvest and repurpose things. As far as housing, we need to look at housing options for all stages of life. Not everyone can be in a $500,000 home. Our recent graduates are looking for somewhere to live. Some of our seniors are looking to downsize. I'd love the idea of townhomes, of providing affordable housing. And again, we need to look at options for all stages of life that match with our community and to keep our people here so they can continue to work, thrive, prosper in Plano. Thank you.
Elisa, thank you. Same question for place 7. Top 2 issues facing the city in your opinion. David Smith, you're up first, sir.
Well, number one issue is getting out of this pandemic. It's going to take a concerted effort by all of us and others to get through this. That absolutely has to be the number one priority. And the second priority I'll label as financial health of the city, and that directly ties with the infrastructure that has been mentioned. We need to take a very good look at the needs of the city, both in the near term and the longer term, and have financial planning that matches that. We do not want to start with a goal of a tax rate, as some have recently. we need to look at the needs of the city and then come up with the best financial plan, which includes the lowest tax rate possible to accomplish that.
David, thank you. Julie?
Yes, I also believe that we need to focus on our infrastructure. That's why I think our bond referendum on the ballot is so important, and I will be voting in favor of that. And I hope that all of you watching will also vote in favor of it. I think Karen Whitley Rhodes, I'm sorry if I've messed up her name, but she did a great job with Plano Moms of explaining why the bond referendum is so important to continue to invest back in our city. And I think that it will cost the average family maybe $67 a year over the next 4 years. So I see that as a great investment in our future. I also see our city as being very divided right now with polarizing viewpoints, and we need council people who can listen to everyone and try to understand what the real issues are and address them. You can look to my endorsements and see my strong bipartisan support, which reflects that I'm someone that surrounds myself with people across the political spectrum, and I've earned their support because they know that I'm open-minded and I truly do want to hear what is important to all of Plano. Thank you.
Julie, thank you. Sandeep?
Yeah, so I'll straightforward answer because your question was, what are the top two things? So for me, the top two things is the burdensome regulations for the small businesses. That is the key issue. And the other issue is the infrastructure. So I met a lot of small business owners, and they are buying existing businesses. And when they are applying for CO or permits, they are facing hard time because usually it should be grandfathered to them. But city and all those places, since they don't have any contact and way to know before buying the business. So I want to be very transparent and open to the small businesses, what kind of businesses they can buy, where the new regulations won't affect them, or they can grandfather it. So I want to work for the small businesses. And as I said, infrastructure is a big problem. So I will vote for making overpasses, bypasses, especially on the Preston. Thank you.
Sandeep, thank you very much. It is time for closing remarks for our second part of our session here this morning. Please remember, candidates, you get 60 seconds to respond to that. We appreciate you being so kind as to abiding by the clock over the last half hour here, so we appreciate that. So we're going to begin with place 7, and Sandeep, you are up first to give your closing remarks. 60 seconds.
Thank you, Jason. So I am running just because of the reason, few things which city lacks right now. First thing is the kind of experience I have. I have a good budgeting financial experience. I have a housing, being a real estate agent, I have a housing experience. Third thing is I'm a small business owner. We, along with my wife, we own few daycares. So we know employees and everything. And the last thing which I request every one of you, you need diversity also in the Plano City Council. And I'm a good qualified, diversified candidate who can people can trust. I will be very honest to the people I vote. I will be always transparent and honest to every citizens of the Plano. And this is the reason I'm not taking endorsement from any political party or any organizations, because if you take endorsement, you are bound to work for them. Thank you very much.
Sandeep, thank you very much. Mr. David Smith.
Thank you for hosting this. I'll start with my campaign website, davidforallplano.com. And that name is very purposeful. I seek to be a council member for all of Plano. I am not running as part of a faction. I truly want to serve everybody. And again, the priorities include becoming part of a unified council, which I believe we can do with a number of the people that are in this forum. And then we need to address the pandemic, the city's financial health, the other issues that have been mentioned here, housing. One that was not mentioned here is addressing the racism and bigotry that is in our society. We can take a leadership role on that. And look forward to your vote.
David, thank you very much. Finally, for place 7, Julie Homer.
Thank you for having us today. I'm running for city council because I love my city. I've lived here for 40 years. I'm raising my family here. I'm a product of Plano schools, and I'm a relationship builder. Those of you who know me know I just cannot help myself but connect people with other people that will be mutually beneficial. And for that reason, people reach out to me a lot for help when they're trying to find a connection. I recently received a text from a friend whose husband has ALS and he's homebound, and she wanted to get him vaccinated. And she said, how can I make that happen? And I sent an email out because I know who to contact. I sent an email out to the liaison with the fire department and community outreach at the fire department, and Casey Prince, because I knew she's over at Paylor Scott and White working with their vaccination program. And she reminded me to loop in Mark Israelson, our city manager. And less than 2 hours after I sent that email, I got a text back from my friend with a photograph of her husband being vaccinated by the Plano Fire Department. And that's why I love our city, because we just make things happen. And I want to be a part of that. I want to continue to keep Plano excellent. So thank you for having us today.
Julie, thank you very much. Now, final word from our place 8 candidates, and Rick Smith, you are up first.
Thanks, Jason. Again, appreciate everybody at the chamber and you coming, allowing us to speak to everyone today. I guess the thing to look at here is a lot of people said a lot of nice things. I've said a lot of nice things. I live by a motto. I say something, and most importantly, I do what I say I'm going to do. I work for the people of Plano, the people that elected me. I'm for safety, low taxes, smart growth. Those all sound good, but they've got to get done. So I would encourage people, don't just listen to me say that I do what I say. Go back, look at my website, rickforplano.org, and there's a video there from 2017 when I was a candidate. I said a lot of things. It's 4 years later. I've done the things that I said on that video in 2017 that I was going to do. If I'm reelected, I will continue to work for the people of Plano and do what I say I'm going to do. Thank you.
Rick, thank you. Elisa, you get the final word.
Thank you, Jason and the Plano Chamber. This has been a wonderful event to be a part of, so I appreciate that. Again, my name is Elisa Klein. I'm running for place 8, and I want you to know that experience matters. I'm the only candidate that has both worked for a city and also is running as a candidate. It's important to understand the integral relationship between the city and the city council and how they collaborate and work together to make things happen for you and for the residents. And I understand that. I have a small business background that provides me with that insight. I'm a community volunteer. I love this community. I've seen it through many stages of life. And I'm just here, to be a problem solver and to plan. I believe in practical changes for our future that take into account what the residents need and want. And so I urge you to, get out and vote. Early voting is coming up soon. You can find it on my website, elisaforplano.com. I have listed all locations and all voting sites and dates and times. Thank you.
Elisa, thank you very much. Elisa, Rick, David, Sandeep, and Julie, thank you for your time this morning. We know it is a busy time with early voting about to begin too. So thanks for spending time with us here at the Chamber this morning. Also like to say thank you as well as we wrap things up to our virtual audience. And again, a big thanks to AT&T for being the Candidate Forum Series sponsor this morning. Quick reminder before you X out of our window here that we have other candidate forums and ballot related events. You can find those on the Plano Chamber website, but just a quick highlight of a couple of them here. This coming Friday, the 16th of April here, 10:30 a.m. to noon, it will be the City of Plano Mayoral Candidate Forum. And then next Monday from 8 to 9 a.m., another early riser, if you will, coffee with the city. And that's reviewing the 2020 bond referendum. Lisa mentioned it. I just dropped the date there too, but the 19th, next Monday, is when early voting begins. It goes through Tuesday, April 27th. Of course, Election Day is on May the 1st. So we know it takes a lot for you to take your time and run. Quick reminder also, we saw our chat box fill up here for this forum. If you have specific questions for the candidates on topics or on issues, please reach out to them. A number of them were dropping their emails and their phone numbers into the forum, but we also heard a lot of websites as well too. So we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. And as of now, 9:26, we are adjourned. Hope you have a good day.